Yo, what's up guys? It's Danny here. Today's video is going to be about loneliness. And I know some people are going to skip this video off because they are afraid to talk about it. But for me, I am very open and communicative to talk about such a stigmatized topic. So loneliness. Loneliness for me was very pervasive in my life. I remember when I was in community college 2 years ago, I was very lonely. Like I had no friends, no one to really talk to. I was always playing games to really cope the loss of friends. And so it kind of made me feel better about myself that I can be good at games, but also it kind of made me feel empty inside that I can't really have this type of social connection with other people. And so that kind of affected how I was communicating with people because most of the time I was very open-minded. You know, I was always trying to communicate my thoughts to other people. But now I feel like when you're so lonely in your life, you kind of develop this state of selective mutism. Like you're afraid to talk about your thoughts. And so once you kind of get that into your head, it's like you can't really become better anymore. You can't really do things that you would normally do. And I know it's heavily stigmatized today because society has kind of shunned away to talk about it. But for me, as a psychology student, it's really important to talk about it since you got to learn how to manage it. So today's topic is going to be how to manage your loneliness. So it's going to be a very straightforward video. First step is to acknowledge your feelings. So back when I was in community college, right, I was like freshman, sophomore, something like that. Freshman year, I was very lonely, man. Like, did not like talking to other people. When I first went to my public uni, there was this girl that was sitting next to me, and bro, I was straight awkward, man. And, I didn't really felt comfortable talking to new people because it's a new place, I felt lonely. I didn't really want to really get out that comfort zone and break the ice. Why should I connect with other people? And also, I had some traumatic experience with some other girl that I used to like in high school that basically broken up with me, only as friends though, not like as a ex-partner or something. That person was like my ex-crush, right? And so I was very attached to other people in my life. And so for me to manage this loneliness, I had to acknowledge it. Like I had to not escape my feelings of loneliness. You see, the thing about loneliness is that every emotions that we feel, we sense them. It's a part of our biology, right? We feel happy, we feel sad, we feel lonely, and list goes on. We feel a lot of plethora of things that we don't really need to feel, but we have to, right? Because it's part of our physiological reaction. The more you really feel things, the more you can really tolerate them better. So for me, when I was alone, like in a room, I kind of just like said, this is temporary. This is going to be short-lived. It's going to be a fleeting moment before I know it. So if you're ever feeling lonely, remember that it's going to be a short chapter of your life. This moment in time that you're in, this place that you feel that is not okay, is going to reside the next day. This feeling is not always permanent. And so that's where I kind of get this philosophy from Marcus Aurelius. And he's like, everything is impermanent, right? Everything is temporary, everything is constantly changing, and you need to change. So that's why I think understanding your feelings builds grit, strength, and resilience to your character. So once you understand and have more experience in understanding loneliness, you can become a strong person. And I think if you kind of really realize that your full potential, you can understand who you are as a person. Thus, it's really pointless in ignoring your feelings because if you never validate your feelings, you'll never able to understand how to really manage it. And then my second point is to recognize that we all feel lonely, right? Millionaires feel lonely, like I feel lonely, the poor feels lonely, the middle class feels lonely, and so on and so forth. Everyone feels lonely, man. I never had this realization that I was the only person in this room that was alone, right? But alone and lonely is different because lonely, you can feel lonely even though you're physically having like a lot of people around your life. I think loneliness happens when you don't feel like you have good social connections, right? Feeling alone is like you have physically nobody around you. And so that kind of affects your psyche. That's just me. But yeah, so don't feel ashamed. Don't feel ashamed that you are alone in this, my friend, because we all have our short-lived moments where we feel lonely. You got to focus on the good things in life. You have to have acceptance and gratitude that at least you're not the only one who is in that short boat. Have no fear in being lonely, okay? So have no fears. Do whatever it takes to not feel lonely. Number 3 is to find an activity that makes you happy, right? For me, how I cope with being lonely was to go to the gym. Well, 2 years later, after I graduated from community college, I went to the gym, and I realized that, man, going to the gym makes me feel better. You know, at least I can have a full pump and look in the mirror and be like, damn, that guy in the mirror, bro, that guy looks kind of beefy. But you know what I'm saying? Just find an activity or a hobby that makes you that brings you joy, that brings you fulfillment, tranquility, a sense of calmness, and just stick to that routine. Like, there's a plethora of things you can do. You could learn a skill, play an instrument, watch a movie. There's a lot of things, man. Play games, dude. Everything in life, there's so much things that we have in this world, but don't always try to, you know, have an addiction towards it. You know, you want to really balance your life and have, you know, purpose. You know, that's just me. Lastly, number 4 is to connect with others. For me, when I'm connecting with others, I look for a community first, right? Communities are something that I value a lot. I went to Psychapa. So basically it's like a psychology club, and I went there and it's pretty fun. Met like a lot of people, but I will say that I really didn't feel connected in the sense that I would like to be, mostly because it was online. You know, I felt if it was physical, then obviously I would hang out, hang out once in a while, but it is what it is though. So yeah, just look for a community. I know it's kind of ironic on how to manage loneliness, but you have to really put yourself out there in the world, and then the people will be attracted to you once they realize your potential. And introduce yourself in the way that you feel most comfortable with. You don't really want to overshare about your private life. For me, that's what I did, and it worked out, but like obviously it was iffy, because like sometimes they're gonna be like, yo, you didn't need to share that, you know. And some people might judge you, you know. Some people might not like that type of stuff, you know, telling about your private life. So to really give you guys an advice, don't tell about your private life. Please don't. It's going to add a lot of drama to your life. There's going to be people that gossip around you because they heard something that was kind of traumatic in your life, and they might really weaponize or use that against you. But yeah, just naturally build connections that isn't forced, and continually interact with them until you're confident with yourself. So the reason why I say that is because we have this thing called dependency paradox. And so basically the paradox is that we have our mothers, right? Our mothers are caretaker. We feel like we are on top of this world, but then when we are out in the city and we have to walk around and analyze our environment, we become scared, we become frightened, and that's when we get into this independence self. But we also have to be dependent on other people. And so this is what loneliness teaches you. It teaches you how to be independent when it's necessary, and also dependent when you need some help, right? So be communicative, talk to some people, balance on how you need to really rely on people, because you don't want to over rely on external factors like friends, coworkers, teachers, and a lot of staff members that you might need to really talk to. So go ahead and try to connect with people. But yeah, that's it for this video. I hope this helps anyone who is, feeling lonely. But yeah, that's it for this video, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.